basic head bob. Ready, go.
I need my familiar Obama Death Star. I just can't. There we go. All right, Brad Show with you here, 1:32 on a beautiful Tuesday afternoon. And if you're lucky like me, the end of your work week. Off the rest of the week because, well, I got stuff. It's a holiday. I got to prepare for Black Friday. No, I don't. Talk about that yet. It seems like an exercise in masochism to me. And I got that, drive around on Thanksgiving afternoon, right? Going from, tryptophan coma to tryptophan coma. And like there are people in lawn chairs with blankets. And, they never set out a porta potty. What do these people do for the 12 hours they're in line to get the whatever the tickle meal? I don't want to know. But taking a few days for it's an election year. I'm taking a few days for the holiday. Get my rest on, get my game on. By the way, and be back. Well, not tanned because I'm going to Wisconsin, which is like the anti-tan. In fact, I believe just being in Wisconsin removes any color from your skin. It's very weird that way. It must be something in the soil. I'll be back on Monday, however. And maybe we can get on with post-election fare. Although I got to admit, the Republican reactions, it's still coming in. You'd think they would get through the 5 stages of grief by now. They are stuck on anger. Someone needs to reboot this machine. Have you powered it off? New York Times today. An article kind of on the Chris Christie kerfluffle. Because remember, a lot of Republicans saw he was the guy. He was the one who should step up, and he was the right mixture of kind of, loud, bombastic, has a bit of bully in him, something that really appeals to modern-day conservatives. Not much of a track record, which actually running for higher office can be good. Has conservative cred. Then Hurricane Sandy happened. Again, even, heading into the convention with Mitt Romney, polling the way he was through the summer, it was like, yes, it's crazy talk. It was never going to happen. But, should Mitt Romney step aside for the good of the party? Chris Christie's the guy we really want. November 3rd, Chris Christie called the Republican kingmaker, Rupert Murdoch. He is the head of News Corp, who has a few problems across the pond these days. But here in the U.S. is the head of Fox News. Is the kingmaker for the GOP. So Christie calls Rupert Murdoch in response to a tweet that Murdoch, not the tweet blaming the Jewish media for being anti-Israel. I believe he apologized for that one. But basically a tweet blaming Chris Christie for Mitt Romney's loss. Christie told Murdoch that amid the devastation, New Jersey needs friends, no matter their political party, according to people briefed on the discussion. But Mr. Murdoch was blunt. Mr. Christie risked looking like a spoiler unless he publicly affirmed his support for Mitt Romney, something the governor did the very next day. Again, this is, yes, it's a symptom of a deeper disease, but think about that for a second. You're looking at a $20, $30, $billion rebuilding project. No state is going to do that on their own. Sorry, southern states. In addition, you have millions without power, untold masses, now homeless. They're sharks in their yard, Okay, I guess I know that was urban legend, but you get my point. Not only do you need, immediate, beyond immediate emergency help, and this is where, FEMA comes in, but it's going to be a long and expensive rebuilding process. And again, at that point, you would think, not that politics ends. I don't have a problem inherently with injecting politics into our issues. It's how we settle arguments. There are other ways. Many of them involve weaponry and hurt feelings and cracked skulls. Politics is a very benign way of doing it, even if it gets heated. But just the simple fact that Chris Christie saw the attention that the president was giving, acknowledged it, and commented that he found it satisfactory. Wanted to thank the president. That was a bridge too far. It was too much. This is that Obama derangement syndrome at work, where nothing he does is good, everything he touches is horrible, and even when he takes Republican ideas, things like cap and trade or a health insurance mandate, ideas that came from the right. Again, they're the most evil, awful, anythingist ever. Why? Because he touched them. Because Democrats have come along to your side. Again, maybe I'm old school, but if the Republican Party as a whole started to undertake democratic initiatives and claim them as their own, I'd do cartwheels. Okay, maybe not cartwheels, but you get what I'm saying. I would be very excited. I would celebrate. I would see this as a time for, if they weren't illegal in the state, Roman candles and M80s. Okay, even though they're illegal in the state, we still go down to Eagleville and pick some up. But you get what I'm saying. That, again, it's hard to keep your base agitated, angry, upset. Someone get me a thesaurus. Irritated at all times. You can't take yes for an answer. You can't celebrate success. Gets in the way of the ultimate goal. Cut taxes on rich people. So in the days after the storm, Mr. Christie and his advisors were startled to hear from out-of-state donors to Mr. Romney. These are the big-ticket folks who really make the Republican trains run on time. They are the fuel for this GOP machine. These donors, who had little interest in the hurricane and viewed him solely as a campaign surrogate, demanding to know why he stood so close to the president on a tarmac. One of them questioned why he had boarded Mr. Obama's helicopter, according to people briefed on the conversations. Now his placement on, going out to, meet the president. This is what every governor does when it's an official trip, not when the Obama campaign comes to Des Moines. Branstad isn't out there. This is what governors do. This is supposed to be, again, the states and the federal government working together. Why would you get on Marine One? Why would you? You're supposed to take a go-kart? Skateboard? A paddle boat? Maybe one of those ducks. You've seen those duck boats. His willingness, talking about Chris Christie here, governor of New Jersey, his willingness to work closely with the president has cast a shadow over Mr. Christie's prospect as a national candidate, prompting a number of Republicans to wonder aloud whether he is a reliable party leader. And this is why this story caught my eye. Remember, Republicans are going to cry for the next 4 years that this is the most divisive president in history. He's a divider. He's dividing our country. And this is being said by a Republican Party that complains if you stand too close to the man. If you travel with him. You know why nothing gets done in Washington? Because if you reach across the aisle, if you're a Republican and you reach across the aisle to try to work with the Democratic majority in the Senate, if you try to build a bipartisan, coalition in the House, or dare step foot on the madrasa that is the White House, that hand isn't eaten off by the party on the other side. If anything, Barack Obama's hamstrung himself trying to work with people like Chuck Grassley who have no interest in working with him. Now that hand is eaten off by your own base. They talked to Doug Gross. He is kind of the anti-Tea Party Republican in the state. He is old school. He's a big Branstad guy. He's kind of that old school model. And he is an absolute movement conservative. And he is a Republican hack. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. Doug and I have always gotten along well. But sometimes you just got to roll. I mean, because he is a Republican operative in every sense of the word. I don't think that man breathes without an ulterior motive. Talking about Christie working with Obama. Said it hurt him a lot. Said Douglas E. Gross, longtime Republican operative in Iowa, who has overseen presidential campaigns in the state. The presumption is that Republicans can't count on him, and saying that Republican voters in Iowa don't forget things like this. Again, let that say. Like, this is going to hurt you if you want to run for president. We're going to hold you trying to fix your state against you. You did a press conference with the president. You rode on, you stood too close, literally, you stood too close to him. And boy, that was what was going to cost Mitt Romney, New Jersey. He was going to win it otherwise. So when Republicans cry, divisive, and he's a divider, remember these stories. When Republicans want to talk about how their party is people-powered and grassroots, how Rupert Murdoch can call the keynote speaker at the Republican National Convention and call him on the carpet and get him to do his bidding. You will go out and you will reaffirm your support for Barack Obama or Mitt Romney, and you will do it immediately, and he did. I mean, I've told Republicans this for years. I don't have a problem with you disagreeing with me. I don't have a problem with you holding different ideas in your head than I do. But I think I've said that I don't say this because I want Republicans to win anything, because their ideas are different than mine, and I think evidence bears out that theirs don't work. We've tried trickle down for 30 years now. How long do you want us to wait? We've tried it. It failed. And throwing collective, party-wide temper tantrum, which in, some shape or form has been going on since 2009. Isn't going to solve your problems. Strapping an AR-15 to your back to show up at a congressional, Q&A session. Not going to get the job done. I know things are different now that I'm not stuck between Beck and Hannity, but the point still remains. I said the same thing then that I'll say now. We need the two parties, that tug of war, the debate, the discussion, the arguments, even when they're heated. This is how we move forward together. And we don't have that. We haven't had it for a while now. We live in serious times, and we only have one serious party in this country. Luckily, a majority of Americans understand that and agree with it. It's why Obama gets a second term. It's why we kept the Senate, and why we got more votes than Republicans in the House of Representatives. You can thank gerrymandering for their majority, but we got more votes. The Republican Party needs a real, pardon the term, come to Jesus. And I don't see that happening, unfortunately. And it's because, I don't know, I hear that, the sane conservatives and Republicans, are working and they're too busy for this sort of thing. Well, maybe it's time they free up a little bit of their schedule and take the party back from moonbats, wingnuts, doom rumors, secessionists, birthers, and the folks who seem to suck all the oxygen out of the room and leave nothing else for people who actually, want to get something done and move forward. Think about it. One of the most prominent Republicans in this country can't stand too close to the president without his political livelihood being threatened. Do they have anything but spite left? All right, 244-0077. Email radiobradshaw@gmail.com and follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/radiobradshaw for, almost all of your Bradshaw needs. Just go to thebradshawshow.com. Takes care of everything. You want the audio-only feed. You want show archives, like, say, for the next 3 days while I'm off doing something else. Probably less exciting, but more relaxing. Just go to thebradshawshow.com. It's got everything you need right there. When we come back... Dan, you've seen Thelma and Louise, right? It's one of your favorites. Would you hold my hand going over the fiscal cliff?
No, I'd stop.
Let's go together when we come back. Here on The Bradshaw Show on Webcast One Live. Thanks for watching. Back right after this.
Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershide.
I'm administrative manager.
I'm the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
If we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, it's got to be, it's your home.
It's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're going to do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed right or it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you going to say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're going to be listening. They're going to want to know what your challenges are. Then they're going to come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me, but is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though, I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm gonna take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
enough said.
It's time to start.
Rock concert movement number 1.
All right, 154 Bradshaw with you here on a Tuesday afternoon, or as I like to call it, the end of my work week. Email radiobradshaw@gmail.com and follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/radiobradshaw. Just to give you, by the way, the Chris Christie story is probably the brightest star in the Republicans are bat crap insane sky tonight. But there are certainly more. The unskewed polls guy is back. For those of you who have lived in a cave the last 6 months, 1, I envy you, and 2, you did miss the unskewed polls. These were the folks. Guy by the name of Dean Chambers, who single-handedly decided that the entire science of polling is wrong, and that he alone had the unique answers. Now, normally when someone says this, my first thought is, you should go start a religion. It's far more lucrative. Ask L. Ron Hubbard. This guy, I guess, just couldn't get past the flesh. And so he, through diligent use of adding numbers to the Romney column, I think, deduced that, in fact, every poll was wrong. And he had the magical, mix of 11 herbs and spices that showed that Mitt Romney was on his way to a massive landslide. And normally, he's like, one kook on the internet, how can you tell from the other? But then we started hearing from, the talking heads, the, legitimate news people, and Fox News. Finally, it was the Romney campaign themselves. The polls were skewed. Reality of our own creations is something completely different. Then it turns out, actually, no, the polls were right, except for Gallup, the one that showed, the Romney lead. But now you can't keep a bad man down, I guess. The fine folks that brought you unskewed polls have returned with BarackOfraudo.com. Exposing how they stole the 2012... Oh, okay. So the unskewed polls were right in spite of them being wrong, because it turns out that massive voter fraud stole Ohio, Virginia, and Florida. Make sense? No? Well, then you're on the right track. And I got to give credit. I mean, it takes hard work. It takes a true level of dedication to continually, in spite of everything, come up with the wrong answers. Whether it's, Limbaugh's Santa Claus comments. Which, again, I think we're considered an outlier until, well, Mitt Romney basically said the same thing on a conference call. Last night it was O'Reilly pulling a Byron York. It's one of my favorite reaction pieces to the '08 election. Byron York, a respected columnist, wrote a piece how, Barack Obama's policies aren't as popular as they appear because they're wildly popular among minorities and women. I always thought minorities and women made up, over half the population as a whole. Maybe I'm weird. See, regular people don't like them. These people do. And O'Reilly pulled one of those out, which is going to go a long way in helping you guys repeat your success from 2012 moving forward. Barack O'Fraudo. But again, this guy, hey, if you could make a buck, I do get a kick. This is the Breitbart people. You remember Andrew Breitbart, the dead guy? For all his faults and flaws, I mean, the guy was a PR master. I'll let you determine if there's any value in being that, but he knew how to work a story, turn a 5 into a 10. He knew how to bring attention to things. He knew how to work the media. Credit where credit is due. Then he dropped it, which is unfortunate because it seemed all his lieutenants are a bunch of incompetent boobs. The latest, this is from Breitbart's big government site, where they are, again, determined. Or no, is this? Oh, no, this is big journalism. I'm sorry. They are determined to get to the heart of, liberal bias and, whatever claptrap they're selling these days. And they have decided to take on a high-profile target. MSNBC? No. CNN? No. NBC? No. CBS? Nope. ABC? Nope. The Ion Network? Nope. I just, on my Twitter feed, twitter.com/Radio Bradshaw, reposted a link. It is the Breitbart Empire criticizing The Onion. Dan, can you tell the audience what The Onion is?
Isn't that a parody news organization?
It is satire. It is comedy.
Max says it's an awful lot like your show.
Well, I was going to say, at some point, I don't know when they turned the corner from comedy to soothsayer. Remember, right after the 2000 election, America's long national nightmare of peace and prosperity is over. And they were right. So there might be some dark arts at work here.
The Onion's been around since 2000.
Oh, they've been around forever.
Well, they can't have been around forever. Al Gore invented the interwebs in
they were
86.
They were actually on newsprint. You can still get them in many cities on newsprint.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's not just a website.
Yeah, I just assumed it was an internet thing.
By the way, if you got some time to kill, since I'm not going to be on the next 3 days, check out the website Literally Unbelievable, where people's responses to Onion articles because they don't look at the source. They just immediately react to the headline. It's much fun. Sure, we're laughing with them, not at them. Yeah, that's it. But the website, Literally Unbelievable, is great. Maybe we can put the Breitbart people. Now they are calling out The Onion for their slanted coverage. And at some point, maybe conservatives will understand that your media machine, the talking heads, the pundits, the talk shows, the Fox News, has spent the last couple of years lying to you. And certainly the last couple months, very blatantly. You'd think they would be upset about being suckered like that, but Stockholm Syndrome? I don't know. So yes, it's gotten to the point now where the Breitbart empire, falling on hard times, calling out bias. The Onion. Anyway, we'll let Republicans melt down on their own time. We actually have, real issues to deal with. And frankly, we only have one party in the country right now that is in any way, shape, or form equipped to deal with them. And the big one coming is the fiscal cliff. And we've talked about this. I think that name is intentionally misleading. I think it is meant to make a much bigger issue than something that isn't quite as serious. And I say this as someone who in a time of recession is all about government spending. When we can borrow money cheaper than the rate of inflation, sounds like a good idea. I am not a deficit peacock, never have been. If you want to know how austerity looks, glance over at Europe and see how those economies are doing. Look how Britain is doing. That's what contracting spending does. And there is a lot of talk that Democrats are looking just as hard as Republicans to avoid this fiscal cliff, avoid sequestration, and those are the automatic spending cuts that were supposed to act as a doomsday device. Remember when Republicans held the debt ceiling hostage, and I think intentionally misleading a number of their followers and a lot of their base on exactly what the debt ceiling does, considering it doesn't spend a single dime. And one of the few things that Timmy Geithner and I agree on is that it's probably time for that outdated concept to go away. Otherwise, you're just inviting more hostage situations. So Republicans held the debt ceiling hostage. And typically, again, this was, it's like 6 lines, the bills that would be passed. They would usually do it in the middle of the night because no one wants to, take credit for this one. Change a 2 to an 8, call it a day, pass it, sign it, done. The whole process would take like 45 minutes. Republicans decided to make a show on this one. They needed all the help they could get, as we've seen. So this was part of the deal that was arranged when Speaker Boehner couldn't take yes for an answer. Bob Woodward actually has a copy of one of the memos that the White House sent offering $4 trillion in cuts to Medicare, cuts to Social Security, cuts to TRICARE, all things Republicans could have run against him on. And they could have run against any Democrat who signed on to this grand bargain. But they couldn't take yes for an answer. So this was the deal that was done. Basically required, X amount of spending cuts or else. And the or else is this fiscal cliff. And that is the Bush tax cuts expire. Remember, they only had a 10-year lifespan when Republicans passed them. And that's a budgetary gimmick with the thought that, hey, who's going to vote against tax cuts in the future? Who knew what would happen? Question that large cuts in social spending which is supposed to offend, Democrats, and large cuts in military spending, which is supposed to offend Republicans who don't believe that government spending creates jobs unless it's in the military. Here's the thing, though. The whole hype around the fiscal cliff is that if a deal isn't done by January 1st, all right, Armageddon is going to break loose. The rivers will flow red, I don't know, with the blood of tax and spenders. It's the most horrible thing that could ever happen. But it's not. Let the Bush tax cuts expire. Let them die the unnatural death that they were assigned to in the beginning. You have a whole year to deal with that issue. And I would love to see Republicans, especially after we pass filibuster reform in the Senate, I would love to see the Republicans fight against the Obama middle-class tax cuts. Oh, Bush tax cuts expired. Now it's time for the Obama middle-class tax cuts. Think Republicans are going to vote against putting military spending in? Probably not. Why? Because they know it creates jobs in, their congressional district. And if they would like that money, by the way, don't just ask for the money from sequestration back. Why not ask for some stimulus on top of it? Hey, blame Democrats. We'll be more than happy to take the blame for, the economy improving. If you, whip me, beat me, make me write bad checks. If you want me to take the shot on that one up, okay, fine. Now, this is from Greg Sargent today in the Washington Post. Some leading liberals and Dems are hoping the White House, if the fiscal talks break down, will prove willing to let us all go over the fiscal cliff and let the Bush tax cuts expire. That way, Dems could return in 2013 and pass the tax cuts for those under $250,000 again, while leaving taxes on the rich at Clinton-era levels. It's nice to see your ideas take shape. Now, the Associated Press reported on this, and in their words, the reception of this idea at the White House was frosty. But here's where Greg Sargent says, I'm not too worried about this yet. Talking about the frosty reception. If the White House were open to going over the fiscal cliff, it would be folly for it to signal it publicly. The White House needs to publicly suggest it isn't open to the idea. If the White House publicly signaled openness to blow up the damn ship, they would risk squandering leverage in the negotiations. And I understand negotiations don't always work so well if you just go back, pop open, a can of PBR and put your feet up on the desk. That may send the wrong signal. And I know this is a bold idea. This is something Democrats aren't really used to, maybe not equipped for. But why not, I don't know, act like we just won an election? Novel concept, not really in our DNA. But considering we're the only party, I think, that believes in DNA, we might as well, again, run with it. Let's take this win and make something of it. Timidness cost us in 2010. I don't know, article after article, it might have been in Game Change. Here's the Obama transition team, right, in late 2008. And they came up with a legislative strategery in honor of Commander-in-Chief at the time. And that was to pick up some small wins and then bigger and bigger in the hopes that they would snowball. And what you have is a popular president passing a handful of bills, and you would peel off very quickly that 20-30% of the opposing party that historically has been willing to reach across the aisle and get stuff done. Again, Congress has always had Steve Kings and Dennis Kucinich's. They weren't the folks who got anything done. They underestimated. I mean, they didn't take Mitch McConnell at his word. His number one job was to make Barack Obama a one-term president. They didn't listen. Joe Biden tells the story of meeting with his old Senate colleagues during the transition and being told, "Hey, man, we can't play with you now." And certainly Republican primaries bared that out. Richard Murdoch, one of the failed Tea Party Senate candidates, and he won a primary over Dick Lugar, who would have won that election by 20 points by tarring Dick Lugar as Obama's favorite Republican. Why? Not because they agreed on taxes or health care or spending, because he worked closely with the president, Chris Christie style, on securing loose nuclear materials in the former Soviet Union. That was a priority issue for him. It was a priority issue for the president. They did a lot of work together on that. And that was used as the sledgehammer against him. Republicans knew what kind of electorate they were facing after losing 2 wave elections in a row. They read their party better than we did. And time after time, again, whether it was the stimulus bill, which everyone and their mother knew we needed. And again, Republicans don't have anything inherently against stimulus spending, or we wouldn't have gotten those checks with George Bush's name on it twice. But in an effort to, again, reach across the aisle, you take your already too small stimulus. You're talking about a $3.5-4 trillion hole in the economy. $800 billion isn't going to touch that. You're dropping a Super Bowl into the Grand Canyon at that point. But in an effort to be bipartisan and get Republican votes, you turn a quarter of it into tax cuts with a far lower return on investment. But we did that. Got to get votes. Trying to work across the aisle, trying to be bipartisan. And we still didn't get any Republican votes. There are 167 Republican amendments in Obamacare, in the Obamacare bill, in the Affordable Care Act. It was their freaking idea to begin with. Came from the Heritage Foundation. Remember when Chuck Grassley was doing multiple trips to the White House? He was their number one negotiator in the Senate. And they made a mistake of believing that he actually wanted to get something done and was open to the idea. And certainly, Chuck Grassley was instrumental in getting Medicare Part D passed. He was also instrumental in making it as expensive as possible by banning Medicare from negotiating lower prescription drug prices. The VA pays about half for drugs, what Medicare does. It's almost like buying power can result in lower prices. Where's Sam Walton? We need to get this idea out there. Someone could really make some money running with this program. But as a handout. And again, this doesn't count as welfare, even if we're just basically giving a handout to Big Pharma. That's not even a hand up. That's just their natural divine right. So Chuck Grassley goes to the White House multiple times and I assume everyone thought he was negotiating in good faith, and then tells White House negotiators that you can give me everything I want. Here's my list. Put everything I want in there. And if the Republican Party's not on board, I'm not going to vote for it. And just so no one assumed that maybe he was not serious, comes back home to Iowa, stands on a street corner, and accuses the president of wanting to pull the plug on Grandma. His death panels was a lot of fun. Even when guys like Chuck Grassley, Newt Gingrich, just a few years prior, had been touting what a great idea advance directives were and how it was an innovative idea that was saving millions. Again, learn from your mistakes. That timidness, that failure to, and I'm not saying everything needs to be a fight. And God knows I've spent the last 7 years telling you Democrats do not have all the answers. I might, but Democrats certainly don't. But realize when, at some point you realize that Lucy is not going to let you kick the football, and you deal with that reality. And I hope that's the case now. When it comes to fiscal cliff, no deal is far better than a bad deal. Bad deal that, luckily seeing signs that, no, we're not going to cut, taxes 20% across the board. We're not going to take John Boehner up on his very magnanimous offer to accept Mitt Romney's tax plan from President Obama. That's not going to happen. But at this point, if, a bad deal is all Republicans are willing to accept, I'm willing to walk away. Let Republicans scream. Let Republicans point fingers and cast blame. No offense, they've been doing it for 4 years now, and it's shown to not be that effective. There's not much force behind that. Turns out Sean Hannity, not quite as influential to the American public as he would lead us to believe. Let's let this deal fall through. Then we'll fix it. And if Republicans want to stop that process, proudly let them stand up and take credit for it. All right. Email me, radiobradshaw@gmail.com. Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/radiobradshaw. Or just go to thebradshawshow.com. Has almost everything you'll need for a festive holiday season. No. Has the war on Christmas started yet, by the way? I don't know. Do we have to wait till after Thanksgiving? Just curious. When we come back, speaking of fun things at Walmart. No, seriously. When we come back here on The Bradshaw Show on Webcast One Live. Thanks for watching. Back right after this.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Do you ever get tired of pretending that life is perfect? If what they see isn't how you feel, God knows, and He understands. Chat now with someone who cares at groundwire.net.
It's like they want to get hit.
Need a body shop?
Minor Wreck Express saves you time and money.
Get away from us, you mean old credit card. We don't have any more money. We're in trouble now. Save us! Help! Somebody save us! Somebody help! Help! Save us!
Hi, I'm Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of Des Moines. If your credit card's a little too animated, give us a call.
Hooray, we're saved! Consumer Credit, you're our hero!
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Oh my God, Becky, did you see her bumper? I know she's had work done. Just last week, she had dimples and stuff all over, and now look.
Yeah, dimples and stuff. Yeah.
I'm Jamie Lasher from Minor Wreck Express. We're here to help with all the dents, dings, and drama of car ownership. Call 278-0101 or visit minorwreck.com for details. We'll see you in the fast lane.
Well, hi, I'm Rob Spearman. I'm a broker owner of RE/MAX Real Estate Concepts in Des Moines, Iowa. Give us a call if you're looking at buying or selling a home, or if you're having trouble on your mortgage payments or looking to purchase foreclosures. We have the agents to help you, experienced, outstanding agents. Our office number is 515-276-2872. Or if you'd like to look at homes, go to our website, homeconnectusa.com.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Start.
Rock concert movement number one.
That.
The basic head bob. Ready, go.
223, the pre-holiday version of the Bradshaw Show, where I just by the thinnest margin I avoided my head exploding scanner style there. All right, wow. Email me radiobradshaw@gmail.com and follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Radio Bradshaw.
What was the matter?
That
what
spot?
The Rob Spearman spot?
No.
The Minor Wreck Express spot?
That was an experience.
You've heard that before, haven't you?
No, that was my first time, and I will never forget my first time.
Yeah.
I need a cigarette. I don't even smoke. All right, 224. Sharon emails, what's going to happen with all these companies laying off employees or reducing their work hours, etc., just to avoid the health care coverage? Is this going to be detrimental to fully implementing the health care law? Short term, possibly. Long term, no. We've seen whether it's Applebee's franchise owners, Denny's franchise owners, which, by the way, kudos. I'm a Waffle House man myself, but it was nice to see the actual CEO of Denny's say that he was disappointed in that Denny's franchise owner. And by the way, the media does a bad job. Denny's owner, like thinking like someone owns like Denny's, incarnate. No, it was, a local area owner. Actually put forth, not kidding, that he's going to put a 5% Obamacare surcharge on the bill, and encourage you to tip less because the waitress is going to be the main recipient, or the waiter or the cook is going to be the main recipient of Obamacare benefits. I believe, at least that guy, apologized yesterday. You understand a lot of this is freak out. A lot of this is bluster. Although there is some stupid out there. Christina Collins is a chiropractor in McLean, Virginia. Said she and her husband plan to closely monitor the business income from their joint practice to avoid crossing the income threshold for higher taxes outlined by President Obama. Ms. Collins said she felt torn by being near the cutoff line and disappointed that federal tax policy was providing a disincentive to keep expanding a business she founded in 1998. if we're really close and it's the end of the year, maybe we'll just close down for a while and go on vacation. I believe the caption here was, "You can't fix stupid." This is the Joe the plumber mistake, right? When you don't understand how marginal tax rates work and how, and again, I think that's intentional in a lot of cases. The first $250,000 that I make or that Bill Gates makes or that Oprah makes is taxed at the exact same rate. And $250,001 is then taxed at an extra 3.5%. That's it. That's how tax.
You do realize, though, that we fought England over less than 2%, right?
Hey, if you want to go full Ron Paul,
I'm just
I don't even have time.
You act like 3% isn't a lot of money, but when we're talking about $500,000, that's a lot of money.
I know it's a lot of money. It's what people pay.
But that's not just merely. That's a lot of somebody else's money.
I think we could quibble over that one.
You could, but you'd be wrong.
You would disagree with me. There's a difference.
I'm comfortable with you being wrong.
But this lady thinking that if she goes over that magical threshold, all of her income is going to be taxed at a higher rate. Now, I don't have the highest level of respect for chiropractors in general. Look, those bent pens are cool and all. And if some guy just wants to work on spines and stuff, I don't have a problem with that. It's the ones who think they can cure everything. If we just adjust your lumbar, all of a sudden, I don't know, your conjunctivitis. I don't even know what conjunctivitis is. We'll cure your rickets, your scurvy, your receding hairline. It's those guys I don't have much of a use for. So I don't give them the highest level of respect to begin with, but to not understand that. And when you see, the Romney campaign or Jack Welch or Donald Trump, there might not be this magic sauce that they say. Maybe some luck does play a factor. But it's not just the kooky people over there. I think there will be an initial freak out. Hopefully, and again, this is where I thank my friends on the right because they do far more of the heavy lifting than I'm capable of. The overreaction is a point. Just to give you one quick example before we go, there's a lot of talk of labor unrest at Walmarts for Black Friday, walkouts, protests, and the like. I'm hoping, the organizers and employees here understand that resistance is futile in this case. They are not going to accomplish much on Black Friday.
Really? You're not with them?
No, I'm with them. Here's why. I would hope that they're smart enough to understand that the true value, and this goes back to Gandhi, MLK, you want the Walmart overreaction to be so over the top, to be so egregious that it brings light to the issue.
Sure.
MLK understood that just, speaking wasn't going to do anything. Comfortable, lily white suburbanites in the Midwest, we're still going to be comfortable lily white suburbanites in the West. It wasn't till, again, Walter Cronkite started showing pictures of dogs and fire hoses that made that couch and that lazy boy a little less comfortable. And then we saw movement.
So let me see if I'm tracking with you here.
All right.
You want them to strike on Black Friday?
They can't. It's not a strike.
It's a walkout.
It is in response to.
But you want this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. We're on the same page. I want it too. Walmart has a history of underpaying their employees, and I think it'd be great.
Well, and not just that.
If
even
they stood up,
try to organize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they're anti-union. I don't care about the anti-union stuff.
No, literally, in Bensonville, they have a rapid response team. There's you've seen watching Cold War movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the president picks up the red phone, and someone at SAC or someone working with Whopper cracks open the codes.
Sure.
If Walmart store managers have a very similar, if you hear of organizing union, if you see union people there, crack this and follow the steps up to and including, they will helicopter in an anti-union, strike team, Delta Force, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I don't care at all about the union stuff, but Walmart does underpay their employees, and they've gotten in trouble in the past.
Well, they've gotten in trouble for locking their employees in.
Yeah, they've gotten in trouble in the past. I'm not trying to protect Walmart.
Overtime, and the goal is to again raise awareness. Again, ask the folks at Hostess, which are facing completely separate but similar in this way problem. American tastes change, moods change. There are better things for you to eat than Wonder Bread, and this was something that Hostess is having a really hard time for the last 20 years dealing with. You can blame unions all you want. They're not the reason your sales are down 28% in the last 8 years. When you look at, Papa John, right? By the way, there are photos online. Go look at photos of, John. Go look at pictures of his house. Also offering health care to his full-time employees will be about $8 million a year. 14 cents a pizza. I'm willing to, add a buck, keep the rest for yourself, and give your people health insurance, because if you don't, I'm going to end up paying for it anyway when they go to the emergency room. These are the issues we need to talk about and share, and this is why I don't think, in spite of the very loud, very public freak-out, I don't think there's a lot of fire with this smoke. And I hope, again, whether it's this, Applebee's franchise, or to be honest, when you say, I'm not going to open more Applebee's, I consider that a public service. When the Denny's guy, when Papa John, when the Walton family does this, they're doing the heavy lifting for us. Walmart freaking out over this, again, is going to bring far more awareness than a few thousand workers, walking out on Black Friday. It's not the action, it's the reaction. And again, let them do the heavy lifting for us. Don't interrupt an enemy in the middle of making a mistake. So Walmart, Papa John, independent franchise owners everywhere, carry on. And thank you for your support. All right, I got to bounce. Be back on Monday, post-holiday. Drive safely. Watch out. A lot of Kojaks with a Kodak out there. Big fundraising time for the Iowa State Patrol and local. So drive safe. Watch out for all the morons on the road around you. Arrive alive, and we will reconvene Monday at 1:30 here on The Bradshaw Show, bradshawshow.com. Follow me on Twitter. Drop me an email. Let's keep in touch. I'll be back on Monday. Thanks for watching here on Webcast One Live. See you then.